Audible is offering our listeners a free audiobook with a 30-day trial membership. Just go to audibletrial.com/stuffpodcast and browse the unmatched selection of audio programs. Download a title free and start listening. It's that easy. Go to audibletrial.com/stuffpodcast.
Welcome to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk about all things Star Wars. My name is James.
And I'm Joseph.
And unfortunately, David is not here, so we're going to go on without him. And if you didn't, go check out his episode that he did, where he did the countdown to The Force Awakens, which he talked about the leaks and everything. I had no idea about any of these leaks.
So many.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous amounts of leaks.
Do you remember that when that happened?
I remember, well, see, I wasn't... I always try to avoid spoilers because I want to go in with as fresh of an eye as possible. So I know there was a lot of leaks, but I didn't realize how many there were compared to what I had assumed there were.
Yeah, he was like, there were production stills that were leaked. And I was like, I never saw any of it. I think I saw one production leak, and it was like of Oscar Isaac. Yeah. I think that was it. I think it's the only thing I ever saw. And then everything else I avoided. And then by the time we got to The Rise of Skywalker, I was like, I don't want to see anything. And you remember that. But anyway, so it was really cool to hear that part of Star Wars. And we just passed the anniversary of the Chewie We're Home trailer that showed at Celebration, which was
still one of the best trailers of all time.
That is, it's not only my favorite Star Wars trailer, but like you said, I think it's my favorite trailer ever done.
For sure.
And so I know David's got to say it was Phantom Menace, which...
It's wrong, but that's fine.
And then also we just passed a year anniversary of last year's Celebration. So a year ago,
that was what, last weekend? Or no, a couple days ago.
It was just this past week, and that was so much fun. That was so. Let me ask you a question. I know David talked about his experience. What was your overall experience like? What was your favorite moment at Celebration?
Oh man,
because that was your first one. And everything.
So for sure, my favorite moment is doing bad stuff. Sneaking into the episode 9 panel was one of the craziest things I've ever done, and it went off without a hitch. And when they just were like, "Yeah, come on through," I was like, okie dokie.
So if you go and watch our video on YouTube of us when we were there, I think it's day 2. It's Ray's logo. You see us saying goodbye to Colin, Joseph, and everybody, and then David and I go in, and then later on,
and then like 10 minutes later, it's like
Joseph,
we're here.
Joseph comes in, and I'm like, "How are you?" And he's like, "I'm fine." He was playing it off so cool, but in his head, you're probably like, "Yes, I made it.
This is happening right now."
And we were all like, "Keep it quiet."
That was my absolute favorite moment.
The illegal stuff, don't worry about it.
I mean, whatever. I mean, I have a beanie. Like, I shouldn't have.
Yeah, you got the episode 9 beanie, which doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
It does not fit my head. I have a giant head, and that beanie is real small. But it was free, and it was real cool to get.
And that was a great time.
But I also me and Colin went to the Clone Wars panel for the stuff that we're seeing now. So. The newest episode just came out a couple days ago, and that scene with the clone troopers with the Ahsoka masks on, we saw a very, very basic pre-production version of that.
Really? That wasn't the final? Panel. Oh my gosh. We'll get into like how it all looked in a second. But
I mean, it was like the basic the basic outlines for it, but we saw that in the panel.
Oh, that's so cool.
It was incredible. And then the Rebels Remembered panel was also one of my highlights. It was, the whole weekend was insane. And
it makes me sad that this year it's going to get canceled.
As we're recording this, that it hasn't been canceled yet, but they just canceled San Diego Comic-Con, which I think is 3 weeks before.
So there's no way that
there's almost no way.
So unfortunately, they're going to cancel it, or they're going to postpone it to another date. David says we're going to postpone it to sometime. But it's going to be kind of depressing.
Yeah, and what the question that I have is, they were planning on announcing things at Celebration and probably San Diego Comic-Con, honestly. But will they continue with those announcements, or will they wait until the next time they set up a Celebration to go?
What would be really cool is, so they got this amazing platform, Disney Plus, which we all are on all the time,
constantly.
And so why not put these panels up for us each day? You know, what I mean?
That'd be
like
fantastic. Or even if they were like, hey, I know you can't be here in person, you know, and they've said publicly already that they're either going to refund you your ticket or give you credit towards the next year's celebration, which is fantastic because I looked through their website when it started looking like it wasn't going to happen, and there's a paragraph in there that was like, we don't have to give you a refund.
Yeah, they're like, one, we don't have to tell you we're going to cancel it, and two, we don't have to give you back your money. Yeah. So it was very bleak. Like when you read it, you're like,
oh boy,
I think they just stole my money.
A couple bucks.
They just took my money.
But luckily, they were like, we're not going to do that, and I'm pretty sure they would be. No one would ever go to another Repop event ever again.
Even though we say we never do want to go to another Repop, but we won't get into that.
I mean, we don't have a lot of choice because they're the people who do Celebration every year.
But anyways.
Which just gives them another 6 months to work on the app for Celebration.
Maybe the app will be working. If you were at Celebration, you remember that.
You know exactly what we're talking about.
What was funny was they kept updating it each day, and it was like they didn't think about any of this before.
I finally got it to work I want to say it was the second.
It was the second to last day. It was when the app
I was able to reserve a seat for a panel, and it was a panel that I don't think very many people were going to anyway. The Resistance panel, where they showed the first episode from the newest season that just concluded a little bit ago. I was finally able to. I was like, it works. I was able to do this. But you would get in line for the online store, and it would just go for it'd be like, your wait is now 4 hours to reserve a spot to get into the store to wait in line again.
For another 8 hours. Yeah, the first day of Celebration, I remember people were tweeting, I've been in line for 9 hours.
Yeah.
And you and I were like, we went the second day and we only waited for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, but we also missed all of the...
don't tell me.
Yeah, that sucked. We missed all of the stars from the Rise of Skywalker on the is that the Celebration stage?
No, it was
the Star Wars shows.
The Star Wars show stage, which was in the main hall, which everybody has access to. It's not lottery based. If you're there, you could see it.
Yeah.
And it's like the centerpiece of the show floor, and that's where they were. And so David, Joseph, and I are 200 meters away from that stage in another room, you could just see through, and you could just see little specks of them. And then they had the TV going in the line so you could see what's going on.
So luckily we didn't miss anything, but we did miss a chance to be this close to John Boyega.
And then Daisy Ridley was there, and then Kathleen Kennedy showed up, and I'm like...
And J.J. Abrams was on the stage. It was crazy.
And we're all standing in line like... We're not mad.
Is this a mistake?
But then we ended up spending a lot of money, but we're not going to talk about that. So anyway, Celebration, just the year anniversary of Celebration 2019 has just passed, and so we'll see what they get to do for 2020. Probably not going to happen. Probably going to be in 2021, which is fine. Which is fine. And like I said, hopefully production of the new Star Wars movies are underway.
Well, and even they pushed back Obi-Wan because of the COVID. So a lot of stuff needed to be pushed back anyway. They wouldn't have had announcements to make necessarily.
True. But here's what I hope they do during that week. They release the trailer of Mandalorian Season 2.
Yeah, because that's all shot.
Dude,
and that should still be on pace to come out in October, right?
They filmed that whole thing. They're done. They're in post-production. And you can do all that from home, so it's great.
So speaking of the Mandalorian, in the trailer for Season 2, do we see Ahsoka?
No.
No, you don't think so?
I think if I were Filoni and if I were Favreau, man, so here's what I would do. This is what I would do. I would have the shot of the Mandalorian kind of off, and you just see the hand come into frame, turn on the lightsaber, and then cut to black, and it's
the white Ahsoka white,
the white lightsaber,
with the orange hand.
Yep. If that comes into frame and turns on the lightsaber and then cuts to black, everyone is gonna be like, "This is gonna be the best show." Yeah, I'm gonna be screaming and yelling. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. So I mean, I can't wait for Season 2, man.
I just don't know what they're gonna do. I'm very excited, but they, at the end of Season 1, they were like, "You have to figure out where this kid comes from, or you have to completely raise him as a Mandalorian. Those are your only two options with this child.
Which gives you, 8. I hope they give them more than 8 episodes. Please, Disney, give them more than 8 episodes. I hope they give them like 12 episodes, hour long.
Yeah. That was the thing that, most people didn't like it. And to a certain extent, I also didn't like that it was only 30 to 45 minutes each episode.
I didn't like that at all.
I get it.
Yeah.
And the other thing for me is that fits into the Filoni, the Filoni matrix of how to make a good season of
how to build up something. Yeah.
Because if you'll watch the Clone Wars again, like we both just finished it right before the new episodes started coming out, so he'll do 3 or 4 episode arcs. Each of them is only 20 minutes long. He knows how to get the beginning of the story, the middle of the story, and the end of the story into 30-minute arcs. I don't think he knows how to do one full...
But then again, you got Favreau also helping him.
Right.
So you may have this... Favreau may have figured it out with how season 1 was.
Right.
And like I said, I think Disney saw the... Because it was like, we talk about it all the time. It was the biggest show last year.
Yeah.
It was the biggest...
People are still talking about it. Like, people that are like, you like Star Wars, right? I'm like, hell yeah, I like Star Wars. They're like, have you seen The Mandalorian yet? And I'm like, first of all, of course I've seen it. Second of all, I woke up early to watch it as soon as possible every Friday.
Every Friday, yeah. I had a ritual I would do every Friday just so I could watch.
I've seen it at least 3 times at this point.
And I have a podcast. You should listen to it. Yeah. But, yeah, everybody was talking about it. Everyone still is talking about it. So I think Disney is going to be like, hey... you can get 2 more episodes in and make them a little bit longer. I think
that was the crazy thing to me too. I was surprised, like, the finale of the show was still only like 40 minutes long.
Yeah, they made it like a minute or 2 longer.
Like 44 minutes.
They're like, whoa, watch out, it's going to be a little bit longer. But
I was gonna say something else, and then it's just gone.
It's gone.
Whatever it is.
I apologize. I talked too much.
It's not your fault.
It's probably my fault.
I didn't get enough sleep last night.
But anyways, who knows what's gonna happen in season 2? I think the way season 1 ended, it leaves them open to go.
Oh yeah, they can do anything they wanted.
And I think with the success of it now, it's like Kennedy was probably looking at Favreau and Filoni, going, okay, we have Clone Wars, we have Rebels, now we have Mandalorian. Let's just bring it all in together for everybody to enjoy. And I think that's what they're doing. And even now with the new season of Clone Wars and now these next 4 episodes, I think we're going to start seeing a ton of crazy stuff.
Man, that first episode of the Siege of Mandalore.
What, today or Friday?
The Friday's episode was...
Let's talk about it.
So good.
We'll get into news later. Right now, I'm really excited about Clone Wars. Okay, so Clone Wars... Season 7, episode 9 that came out? Yeah.
Something along those lines, yeah.
Oh, from the opening shot, I was like, this is different.
Well, and
what did they do?
So it was that green...
Oh, yes. They started...
Lucasfilm Limited...
I had my dog in my hand. I was like...
goosebumps.
Yeah, I was like shaking. I was like, oh my gosh, they're doing it. And then the logo...
the actual theme hit.
I'm getting
not the
goosebumps
Clone
right now.
Wars theme,
the
actual Star Wars theme. I was like...
And I'm like, I'm holding my coffee. I'm like, what are they doing? What is this? What are they doing with this thing? And then it just says part 1, and then it says,
I can't remember
the title. We suck.
I was too jazzed about it.
And then it starts. You hear the usual introduction.
And then Admiral Yularen.
Yeah, and then you see Grievous, which we haven't seen him yet this entire time. And Grievous looks more like the Grievous we know, which you'll understand why. And then they start showing images of the planet they're flying on, which is the same one Plo Koon was on.
Yep.
And then they start the battle, and then there's this rocket coming at Cody, and you just see...
freaking Obi-Wan out of nowhere, samurai. Shunk. I was like, ooh.
And then they did this slow motion of him holding the lightsaber, and right then and there, I was like... They gave them all the money for these last 4 episodes because the animation is like years and years ahead of whatever they just did for those first 8 episodes.
And for the entire series beforehand.
Yeah, I was like, where did this... I mean, the animation looks completely different. The feel of it, even the shots they did were more cinematic than they've ever done it.
Well, in the way I, by introducing it with the Lucasfilm Limited and the actual theme from Star Wars instead of the Clone Wars themes... This could be considered a film. You know what I mean? Like, the Siege of Mandalore could be considered, like a Solo or a...
I agree.
From that first episode alone, like, it's gonna be. Fans are going to consider this one of the things you have to watch in order to be a Star Wars fan.
And here's the thing: did you notice the length of it? It was almost 30 minutes long.
Yeah, it was 27.
It was almost So they made it longer, and they made it look just I can't even describe.
Crisp. It was everything was perfect.
And the shot of Anakin there talking to them, the way the angle looked up at him, I'm like, this is like a movie. This isn't a TV show. This is a movie I'm watching right now.
R2 poking his little head out and coming back down.
And then the music, they included the Return of the Jedi bump, 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 and because I'm like, oh, something cool's about to happen. And then, like I said, it was perfect. Like that, I've never said that about a Clone Wars. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some episodes in Clone Wars that when it's over, I'm like, dude, that was freaking awesome. I was like, this is what I've been waiting for.
You're like, this is Star Wars.
This is pure Star. Okay, don't get me wrong. All right, the first 8 episodes were pretty good. I did like the Bad Batch, and I did like that we finally get to see what happens to Ahsoka after she leaves, and I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. But then once this episode started, I was like, this is what Filoni was like. Okay, I did all that. Now I can really finish what I've wanted to tell you this whole time.
Yeah.
And ooh, man. And so what was really cool was one, you get Ahsoka coming back, and we finally get the "Hello, Master, it's been a while" moment, which we've been seeing for 2 years now. That one shot for 2 years
with Bo-Katan.
But what was funny was it was the Admiral, but in the trailer they showed back in Comic-Con 2018, it was Rex.
Or Rex?
It was Rex was there.
Yeah.
And now it was as they switch. Anyways, I don't know. Misdirection, I don't know, but anyways, gotcha. And then so we see Ahsoka show back up, and she's completely different, and then she has a mission. We need to go do this. So when I started hearing that, I told my wife, I was like, man, we're gonna start seeing, I think we're gonna see maybe a young Mandalorian somewhere.
Possibly.
Because if you think about the timeline, when the Mandalorian was a boy, the Clone Wars were going on.
Yeah.
And so now we're getting toward the end of the Clone Wars. So I think the events of Mandalorian as a child have already happened.
Well, and the other thing is, like, you get that shot of that I've been waiting for personally of a young Kanan Jarrus standing next to Depa Billaba.
Yes, they did it. They
I was like, it's in the thing.
Yeah, he's there. He's there. He's been there the whole time
right now. But yeah.
But and so the show, it looked like it was going to be another like cool arc that was going to happen, but it's an even better arc because there's the alarms start to go off, and then you find out the Grievous has attacked Coruscant, and they may have taken the Chancellor.
And Shakti's
protected. I was like, yeah! I yelled at my house.
Which means the Siege of Mandalore happens concurrently with Episode
3. So, dude. Like I said, this show just went from the Clone Wars being amazing to just like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, we were speculating that, as soon as we saw pregnant Padme in the Bad Batch episodes, we were like, I'm pretty sure this is going to go right into Episode 3. But just to get it confirmed like 100%.
Not only is it going into Episode 3, it's happening the
exact same time.
So, oh my gosh, so that means we're going to get Order 66 from Rex's point of view when Ahsoka's there.
Well, and we know what happens with at least Ahsoka, I believe.
We do know what happens?
Well, it's from the book, the Ahsoka book.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, it's been a minute since I've read it, but she like fakes her own death in order to escape Order 66. So I don't know exactly how that's all going to play out, if they're going to actually show them digging the graves for Ahsoka and all of that kind of good stuff. But the last couple episodes of this are going to be
the best,
super intense.
It's going to be amazing because we're going to get Order 66, but then here's the other thing that we don't know about: if he's going to do a jump to Rebels. I got chills thinking about that, because if you remember the ending of Rebels, they do a jump. They go forward. Man, he could do that at the very end. He could say, like, she could be narrating what happened, and then it cuts to her.
Well, you know what else they could do is they showed that Ahsoka and Anakin still have a connection through the Force when they're flying past the Star Destroyer, right? Does Ahsoka feel it when Anakin completely becomes Vader?
Oh, yeah.
Is she like, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
That was a good shot of her watching him leave, because when she, in the episode, you'll notice when there's a moment when she sees him walking out, you see her kind of like look at him, then she looks away like,
what's going on?
Like, why do I feel?
Yeah.
And then she kind of just like shakes it off, like that's her being like, why does this feel like the last time I'm ever going to see this guy?
Well, and and that all happens. But that argument that she gets into with Obi-Wan about going and protecting the Chancellor and being his puppet and all that kind of, the Jedi are here. I was like, oh,
this is good. This is getting good, man. Oh man,
that was probably one of the most tense things I've seen in a long time.
But then we got the moment that I've been waiting to see, and they showed it during the trailer of her in the jumping from. Oh man, so dude, so they're going toward Mandalore. They're flying in, and then everyone has to jump out of the ships because they're getting blown up. And then Rex says, "I'm sorry I didn't bring you a pack." And then she says, "I'll beat you to the bottom,
race you to the ground,
race you to the ground." And she just jumps out.
Well, and the other thing is that's a callback to an episode of Clone Wars.
Yes. Whenever
where, I think he's teamed up. He's got R2, and she's just like, "Peace."
Yeah, and then
It's a callback to that.
Then Anakin's like, "All right, I guess we're gonna follow her down." And dude, she's flying, she's jumping on ships, she gets in a ship, she beats up these dudes. And what's funny, I don't know if you noticed, she slices all their jetpacks. So when they fly out, you just see them like kind of fly away. And they kind of hid a few of them. Some of them they did show, and I was like, oh god,
this is not a kid's show anymore.
And then she finally, like, she grabs onto one, helps the pilot escape, and flies it down, does a flip, lands, does a superhero land.
No, not quite. She does a flip and then uses the lightsabers to drag herself to the thing, and then pops up with the saber.
And then she does the stance, and I caught it. I don't know if you caught it. I had to text y'all. I was like, for 2 or 3 bars in the music, you hear Rey's theme, and I was like, this is the best. I'm over there screaming. I have tears coming down my face because I was like, this is what I wanted. I wanted to see Ahsoka do that land and just bam. And I was like, and the fire, of course, they have the explosion behind her. It looks insane.
We've been seeing that poster since
the beginning,
since Celebration of last year, right? And so to actually see that entire scene play out, something that we've been anticipating since San Diego Comic-Con 3 years ago at this point. As
she was coming down, I remember thinking, oh, this is it. This is the moment. Like,
I was like, whoa.
And then we get the, they take over and we find out it's a trap. Who knew it's a trap? And she's down below, and we finally get to hear the one thing we've all wanted to hear, which was, I was expecting Kenobi. Why? Who are you?
Oh, no, I was like, but I'll settle for you, or something along those lines.
And then she turns on her lightsaber, so this next episode. So here's my thing. Are they going to go directly into that with the next episode, or are they going to go somewhere else and then cut back to it?
I honestly don't know, because, they can't really follow. The only other storyline they could follow is Rex, really, right? Because everything else is episode 3. So,
here's what I want to see during that introduction is, when they tell, like, war above Coruscant, Anakin and Obi-Wan. I want to see the animation of episode 3 of them flying the ship. That would be the coolest thing ever.
Or you could just watch episode 3. It already exists.
Come on, man. But you know what? I want to see how Filoni does. I want to see the different angles. And then what's crazy is they're going to announce the death of Dooku, like, off camera. Because he's going to die.
Because he'll be dead in the next...
Yeah, he's going to be dead in the next episode.
Hour.
Yeah, which is crazy because, he's such a vital key to the Clone Wars.
Right.
And his death is just kind of got to be like, after the death of Count Dooku. What? If you haven't seen episode 3, you're not going to know it. But who hasn't seen it?
If you're listening to this podcast, why haven't you seen
episode 3? Episode 3 is the... Anyways.
Get your life together.
Yeah, come on. So, anyways, this episode was like the coolest episode I've ever seen of Clone Wars. I can't wait to see what happens next, man.
And I think you in particular are kind of like, they wasted so many of these episodes this season, but I'm perfectly okay with the pacing of it now.
I know, I'm a little...
Because it all built to this.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
It built to this. It established what Ahsoka's mindset is now. It established what Rex's mindset is right now. And... Maul's back again.
Yeah, but what's crazy is we all know what happens to Maul. We all know what happens to what's happened to Rex and Ahsoka, but it's just that journey to get there.
Yeah.
And that's what I think makes Star Wars so fun is a lot of the stories you already know how it's supposed to end. But it's like just filling in the gaps of what else happened, which is what I hope they do with the gap between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens.
Well, you saw that thing Colin just sent us.
So
right?
So who? Okay, so
I'm not
Colin,
sure who that guy is.
So Colin just sent us something from an animator from Lucasfilm who said, "Thank you so much for showing us all this love for Clone Wars," and he said something to the effect of,
it says glad. I can't read the guy's name.
They covered his name.
But it says, glad to see so much love for our work in hashtag the Clone Wars with the little Ahsoka symbol. Super adorable. Again, keep loving them and we'll keep making more. And fear not, we at Lucasfilm Animation are still going strong even during COVID-19. So, for me...
I don't think that means more Clone Wars.
It doesn't necessarily mean more Clone Wars, but it means more Lucasfilm Star Wars animation. In my opinion, which I'm always down for.
If Filoni is in charge, I'm down.
Right.
I mean, if Filoni says, "Hey guys, I have a new story I want to do about this gap," like the Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens gap is the one that everyone's dying to see. I mean, we had Resistance, which was toward the tail end, and then now we're getting Mandalorian,
which is the beginning.
Which is toward the beginning. So we just need this whole middle gap of the First Order rising. Right. And rumor has it in this season of... I mean, this was a rumor from way back when. Right. But the rumor has it in this season of Mandalorian, season 2, we're going to see the beginning of the First Order.
Right.
And you can kind of see it at the end of the last episode of Mandalorian when Gideon comes in. You're like, these are like new age type.
Well, his TIE fighter was totally different from anything we'd ever seen before.
So that was a good kind of like, hey, there's still these things going on outside of the Star Wars that we know. So anyways, I want to see all of that again, but here's what I really, really want to see. I want to see a show that takes place underneath the original 3 movies. That is what I want to see.
That would be fun.
I want to see what Ahsoka, what Rex, what the Ghost was doing.
If they ever do a Lost Stars series.
But here's the cool thing. You can call it Lost Stars. You can have your main people, but man, you can put more stuff.
You can do whatever you want with that. Yeah.
And if you haven't, we talk about Lost Stars, I think, every week. But but you haven't read Lost Stars. It's so great. And it was the first time, at least for me, I think for everybody, for Star Wars fans, to kind of see that, yeah, you do have your original story, but there is a way to have an underlying story that goes on.
That flows through every single bit of your original 3 heroes.
And what's beautiful about it is you're not taking away anything. You're not taking away any type of story arcs, or you're not changing anything.
If anything, you're adding.
You're adding so much more to it. Like, I talk about it where the main character, she's there on Bespin looking at the Falcon, and she says Vader wants us to dismantle the hyperdrive. So they go through there and they dismantle the hyperdrive.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because later on they're like, we fixed it. Why is it not working? They told me they fixed it. They did fix it, but then Vader told them.
The Empire came through and unfixed it, and then R2 fixed it.
And he knew it.
Because R2's the jam.
He's the coolest person ever. But never mind. I won't talk about R2. But anyways. Okay. May 12th. No, before we get to May 12th. Something else happens before May 12th.
May 4th.
May 4th.
May the Force be with you.
So David has, ever since I've known David, he's always said, like, Lucasfilm doesn't take advantage of May 4th, which is very true. If you've ever looked at, like, some of the stuff on May 4th that happens, it's like other people doing Star Wars stuff, and Lucasfilm is kind of like...
And Lucasfilm and Disney just not stopping them from doing it.
Yeah, and then Lucasfilm is like, hey, happy May the 4th. They put together a cool little video, but then you're like, oh, that's cool. But this year, they're actually going to, like, do stuff.
Yeah. It's the first time, I think, ever.
So the first thing they're going to do is they're giving us the final episode of Clone Wars early.
On that
Monday, because Friday we get this episode, which is great, because that means we only get to do Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday we get the final episode.
And you know that episode's going to be one of those things that's going to kill us until Monday. Like,
oh, yeah.
The end of that 3rd episode in this arc, we're going to be like...
What happens next?
What?
Yeah, so I'm so pumped, and I'm so excited they're actually going to do that for us. And we're all going to watch it. We're all going to figure out a way to watch it together, even though, like I said, unless we fly them down from Michigan. I'm just joking.
Probably not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
Definitely not going to happen.
But we're going to use Zoom, I think, is what we're going to try.
Yeah.
We've never done that before. But anyways.
Good luck, everybody.
And we're all going to watch it on that day. And then also Lucasfilm announced... Not Lucasfilm. Disney, out of nowhere, is like starting, I think, at the end or next week... They're going to start having big Disney movies on sale for $4.99 digitally, which is crazy. And on May the 4th, they're going to have every Star Wars movie on sale for $4.99.
That's fantastic. I already have them all digitally, so it doesn't help me at all. But
the only two that I don't have, and I know we talked about it, is I don't have Phantom Menace or Attack of the Clones. Which
how do you not have those two?
I don't know.
How's that? How are you even a person?
How am I even a Star Wars fan if I don't have it? I mean, and I told my wife, and she was like, "But they're on Disney Plus." And I'm like, "I know, but
I don't know that they'll be there forever.
They might not be there forever.
What if Disney Plus goes under?
Exactly, which is never going to go under. But anyways, but if it does,
but you don't know. Netflix was looking like it was about to.
Yeah, they bounced back. Those bunch of jerks, they bounced back. But
they bounced back because of COVID-19. But
I think we're onto something. No, I'm just kidding. But I think Disney's onto something though. I remember I joked about it because it was like the day California announced, or no, it was the government announced, hey, we're going to shut everything down. The new CEO of Disney was like, hey, Avengers Academy opening in July. We're like, yeah, you got it, dude.
Go for it, bro.
So I think he knows something we don't know. And speaking of, Bob Iger's back.
He's back.
He's like helping Disney now. He was supposed to step down as CEO, but now he's like back as CEO, trying to help them get through this whole thing.
Well, I mean, he wasn't ever like gone. He was. From what I understand, he was there in a advisory capacity.
But now apparently he's like not the advisory. Now he's
take a step to the side.
He's like Bob. Bob, go check out the parks one more time. I'm gonna take care of it because that's what that guy was in charge of. He was in charge.
Do you know what I heard about Disneyland?
What'd you hear about Disneyland?
This is a weird fact that has nothing to do with anything.
All right, segue. Here we go.
So there's one wild animal that they allow in Disneyland every night.
Okay.
That they don't do anything about. It's like there's something like 2,000 feral cats that just wander around Disneyland after the park closes.
And they just let them chill in there?
Yeah, because they tried to get rid of them and they couldn't.
Interesting.
So my question is, with the park being closed for as long as it's been closed,
they're everywhere.
How many feral cats are going to be there at the end of the lockdown?
That's beautiful. I never thought about it. But I know that there are still people going in the parks and like I think they're using it to like
security and stuff. Yeah.
But I saw somebody record like a whole video of the Galaxy's Edge and like all this other stuff.
Just being completely empty and stuff.
Yeah,
that's kind of tight.
It was kind of tight. Kind of sad too.
But also tight. Like I don't know. I've always had like a weird fascination with like abandoned stuff.
Dude, we can go. Never mind. We're not going to get into that. But anyway, I was going to say I have a whole other story about abandoned stuff. But anyways, so back to May the 4th. Star Wars will be on sale. 1 through 9. I think even Rise of Skywalker is going to be $4.99.
Dang it! I should have waited.
I should have waited too. No, you're going to wait for.
No, I'm not going to wait for the Rise.
Don't wait.
Crazy. You're high.
Even Rogue One and Solo, they're all going to be there for $4.99. Mind you, you can watch them on Disney Plus, but you don't get the special features. Think about that one. Think about
it.
And then also on May the 4th, we are getting. What was it? What did they call it? Like Disney Gallery?
Something like that. It's basically a behind-the-scenes look at the making of The Mandalorian.
And it's how many episodes again?
Several.
Yeah. So we are going to get a behind-the-scenes of The Mandalorian, which is awesome.
Yeah,
which is great. Which is, I think, every streaming service should do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think Netflix did it with The Irishman. They had a sit-down with Scorsese,
like a round table.
Yeah, a round table with them, and they even included like parts of the making of the movie. And I'm watching that thing, going, "This is really cool." Like this,
and they did something similar with Stranger Things, where they had like that after show.
That's right, yeah.
And Tiger King, they had that thing with Joe McHale. I don't know if you've watched Tiger King or not.
Everybody has watched Tiger King.
I hate it.
It was the worst. I know, right? I was like, my face during Tiger King. If you're watching this on YouTube, my face was like this the whole time, and then.
Oh, come on.
And then I look at my wife going, let's watch the next episode.
Yeah. It's not even a good story, but like there's something about it that's so addicting.
What it is because we never heard anything about that's a weird. Anyway,
totally, completely.
So Disney is going to be doing a Mandalorian behind the scenes episode. So what I hope they do is they do 8 episodes. Each episode is behind the scenes.
I'd be super into that.
I'd be so down for that. And so that's really cool.
As long as they skip episode 4.
Come on, don't be that guy.
I really don't like it.
Well, that episode 4 was
the pretend Magnificent 7 episode.
You didn't like that one?
I hate that episode.
I thought everybody liked that one.
I hate that episode.
He hates
it's my least favorite. I literally just skipped it on my
I thought that was episode 3. No, that was episode 4.
No,
you're right.
Episode 3 is tight.
Episode 3 is awesome.
Yeah.
That was when we see all the Mandalorians come up. But anyways, episode 4 was the Magnificent 7.
Yeah.
Anyways.
It's a tired story. I'm tired of it. I don't want to see it anymore.
Well, I think
unless you're rebooting the Magnificent 7,
which they did already.
It was okay.
But we talked about it before, which was every filmmaker does pay tribute to Akira Kurosawa.
And that's fine.
And so you always find a way to include that into...
I think my only issue is Filoni's already paid tribute to Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah, and that was a great episode, too.
Yeah, the first time they did it.
All right. Fair enough. But anyway,
and the other thing is, in the Clone Wars episode, they actually had 7 people helping them.
Yeah, it was like...
In this one, it was just Cara Dune and the Mandalorian and a baby.
And a baby who was like just chilling.
Who didn't even use his Force powers.
What a jerk, right? Okay, so here's my question. So this child is going to have to get older. This child is going to have to start to age.
That's how babies work.
That's how babies work, yeah. But I'm talking about marketing now for Star Wars. Like, how are they going to make this thing older and still cute and still relevant to the memes? You know,
well, you remember Teen Groot from Guardians 2, right?
Yeah. I mean,
or no, not Guardians 2, Avengers.
Yeah.
I mean, there you go.
I mean,
just make him a moody teenager.
Yeah, true.
It's still pretty adorable.
Yeah, it was still really cute.
Maybe speak a little backwards.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. Is like, does this species like speak that way from the beginning, or was that just how
Yoda thing?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyways,
no way to tell.
I wonder if the last part of season 2 is going to be him speaking for the first time. That'd be kind of cute.
Oh, he goes da da.
They're all going to be like, "Aw,
chicky nuggy,
chicky nuggy," which doesn't make any sense that that's still a thing. But anyways, what else?
So May 4th, we've got all the stuff that we talked about with that. May 12th is the official release date of the pod racing game.
And it's only going to be available on the Switch, if I'm not mistaken.
Switch, and no, just the Switch.
Just the Nintendo. That's all they're doing it for. Because that's all it was for on the... it was PC and Nintendo back in the day. So a lot of...
So did you have the original pod racing game?
I didn't have an N64.
Sure it was on PlayStation 2.
Was it on PlayStation 2?
I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it was.
It probably was. We're probably wrong 100%. But anyways...
So I never personally owned it either, but I do remember playing the living hell out of that game. Every time we would go to Walmart, they would have the game console thing set up there, and I would go straight there, and I would sit there and play the pod racing game until my mom was done doing whatever she was doing. And sometimes, you'd go through the Tatooine race course like 6 times before your mom was ready to finish
I remember a friend of mine from church, he had it on his computer, and one day we're all over there hanging out, and he has it, and I was like, dude, can we play this? And it was so much fun. And at the time, the graphics were crap. The graphics were not that great.
And from what I've seen from the Switch version, they didn't really update them that much.
Yeah, and like the guy, he did an interview, and like I read through the whole interview, like waiting for the person to ask what about the graphics.
Right.
The dude never asked about the graphics. He never talked to me.
It's probably one of the questions he wasn't allowed to
They're like,
ask.
don't ask about the graphics whenever you do. So I'm kind of holding out hope that they're going to update the graphics.
I mean, it looks fine. Like, it doesn't look... The screenshots I've seen from it don't look terrible. But it's definitely not a game that was created in the late 2020s. Yeah.
I mean, I hope. But I'm excited for that thing.
And I'm going to play the crap out of it.
I can't wait to grab it. I can't wait to get that game, because that's a game that like I said, I didn't have an N64, but I knew people who did have it, and I did play it.
Right.
And I think either Gaddy's or Dave & Buster's had the
big one.
They had the big one you could sit in and play.
Dave & Buster's for sure.
Oh man, that thing was. And I still remember the first time like I saw the pod racing. Like I wasn't blown away by it. But my dad, who's not a big Star Wars fan or anything, was like, that was an exciting part of the movie. I was like, really? Because for me, you got to remember during 99, the only thing you're focused on when you watch Star Wars, lightsaber fights and Darth Maul. Yeah. That's it. That's all you cared about in 99 when you were a kid watching Star Wars. But I remember like my dad and like a few other people who were old, anyways, they all said, oh, I like it when they did the racing sequence. And I'm like, oh, okay. But then it wasn't until I got older when I went to watch. I watched episode 1 again, and I was like, "Dude, this is really cool." Like,
when I really
dig this.
I know I've said this 1,000 times on this show, but the graphics hold up so good from that.
It's insane
from that sequence. It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
It should not hold up that
well. There is a shot of the pod racing, which I'll show you this when we're done. But it's the overhead shot on at the beginning of the third lap of them going through the canyon, and it's like wide, it's like high up, and just the way the light hits the pods, the sound effects, how the sound effect kind of goes down because now you're higher up. Yeah. And the way they turn, I'm like, that's real. Like, there's no way that's a digital.
How did George Lucas do this?
How did you do? Did you really build these things to go out there and
in watching that panel, they might have actually gone and built those pods.
Dude,
they were talking about the craziest stuff that George would request of them, and they would just be like, yeah, let's do it.
And I always go back to the best producer anybody could ever ask for was Rick McCallum. That 100%. That dude was the biggest and best yes man in history.
We'll figure it out, George.
Yeah, he was like, George Lucas was like, I need this. He was like, you got it, dude. I need this. We'll figure it out.
Give me 20 minutes.
Give me 20 minutes. I'm gonna call. And if you ever watch any like the behind the scenes of all 3 prequels, that dude was everywhere with George. Like anywhere George was, Rick McCallum was right next to him.
Taking notes.
Yeah, he was constantly like, we got it. We'll do this for you. I'm pretty sure he retired. I don't think he has to work a day in his life.
I think after episode 1, I would never want to work again because that guy did so much work.
My favorite part, we talked about it before, was the special features when after they had that crazy storm in which they said it probably the first time it happened. I mean, the last time it happened was in '76 when they filmed episode 4, and then all these years later it happens again. The craziest storm, and you see him driving, and he's like, "This is crap." This is complete crap. And then he gets out of the car, and one thing he says, which is kind of the precursor for the rest of the prequels, was he's like, "This is what digital technology is for. You built this in a computer. You don't have to worry about this." And then you just see Sebulba's pod, and he's like, "Look at that." Like, and they were like, that was the one. They said that was the hardest one to look at. Sebulba's pod was just completely destroyed,
it's gone.
And then they said, "Thank God this beauty's okay." And you look, and it's Anakin's pod was in pristine condition.
Didn't even get touched at all.
And they were like, somebody was like, "It's the Force." He goes, "Yeah, it's the Force." And it's so funny. But anyways, just to see like how involved he was and how crazy that movie was to get made. I think if they did a whole movie about the production of Phantom Menace, that'd be the most interesting movie I'd ever watch, because that movie was made differently than any movie has ever been. I mean, now movies are made that way, but nobody had ever done any of that stuff.
No.
Like, I don't think anybody gives enough credit to the Phantom Menace behind the scenes for what they did, because
it was wild.
That was nuts.
It's absolutely insane. Yeah.
Did you see the part in the making of it where they had a puppet of Jar Jar, like, on the back of a truck? Like, they were, like, doing all kinds of tests for this thing. They were trying
to figure out Jar Jar so hard, and it just, like, it worked at the end of the day. But, man, at the beginning, they were like, I don't know how in the world we're going to do this.
They built the suit, and the original idea was to build the suit and digitally do his face and the ears. But then they ended up just digitally doing the whole thing. But
over everything Ahmed Best did. Oh,
but anyways, so Phantom Menace pod racing is coming out. I'm excited for this thing. We're gonna get it, and we're gonna play it.
I've been checking every day to see if it's available for pre-order on the Nintendo store.
Ooh,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, that thing's gonna sell, because a lot of people because you got to remember, a lot of people, that was their first Star Wars game run, and a lot of people that was like their first getting the N64, because it was around that whole time, so it was perfect. And I saw this thing. It was like the best Star Wars games. Oh no, the worst Star Wars games that ever came out, and 95% of them were in the late 90s, right? When Episode 1 came out, because everybody was trying to jump on the Star Wars
bandwagon. Yeah, I had one for my DS at one point. I couldn't tell you what it's called, but I thought it was going to be like an action adventure game, and what it really was a puzzle game.
Yeah,
and I was like, this is, and the main character was this Twi'lek. I think she was a Jedi, and she would just go somewhere, and then there'd be a puzzle, and you're like, how does this translate into lightsaber battles?
A lot of those games back in the late 90s were, this is what this game was originally for, but it's Star Wars.
Yeah.
We put a Star Wars...
We just put a Star Wars brand on it because people will buy it.
And people did buy them. People bought those things like crazy. I had the PlayStation 1 Phantom Menace story game.
Oh man, those was so bad.
Like at the time, I was like, "This is the greatest game I've ever played."
I think I have the episode 2 one for the GameCube.
Oh, nice.
And it actually isn't bad. Like it's fun for the most part. It's mostly vehicles.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of hard to mess up. I think there's like 1 or 2 lightsaber battles.
What was that game called? It was a twist. It was like Twisted Metal or whatever. Like, so they had a Star Wars version of that.
They did.
Yeah, it was like it was. Like I said, it was like these companies were like, "Oh, we can just put Star Wars ships and it's cool."
Yeah.
But anyways, so that's cool. That's happening May 12th. Going back to Mandalorian.
Yeah. So this week, Build-A-Bear released the ability to online order because everyone's in quarantine still. They could online order the child, I should say, not the baby Yodas.
Don't you dare.
Not the baby Yodas, but the child Build-A-Bears, which are super adorable, and they come with a little squeezy thing in it that makes baby noises, from what I understand. And they sold out super quick.
Yeah, David got his.
David got one, but David's one of those crazy collectors that'll, like, the moment he knows something is going online, he's on it.
Yeah.
Refreshing the website every 20 seconds.
But if you're hearing about it now, Monday,
it's way too late.
Gone.
It's way too late for you to get it.
You're probably not going to get it until next year. But yeah, so those sold out quickly, and it just goes to show you how still relevant this little child is, man. Everybody's still going crazy. Everybody's still going crazy about it. And, yeah.
And they should be, rightfully so.
It's adorable. But all right, so hey, that's it. That's all we got time for today. And we just want to thank y'all for listening, and thank y'all for watching as well. And give a shout out to Nicole, our newest member on the Star Wars Stuff podcast. It was her birthday on Saturday, so wishing her a happy birthday. And they'll be back next week. I think they're all gonna get together next week and talk. And we should have some YouTube videos, some little fun YouTube videos coming up here pretty soon. So that's gonna be kind of we'll see. But yes, thank you so much for listening and for watching, and may the Force be with you
always.
It's a trap!